Hi there, Chris, chap and cat from Motolegends, here today to talk to you about a brand new jacket from our friends at Helstons, our French friends at Helstons. It's called the Bill jacket. So Helstons is probably the most famous and renowned French maker of leather motorcycle jackets. They've been around forever, and back in the 80s they were probably a contemporary of our very own Lewis Leathers. But whereas Lewis Leathers went off in one direction, Helstons went off in another. Lewis Leathers went down a slightly more pastiche route, producing copies of original jackets that the company had made back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, often jackets that sell to Japanese tourists. They're not really modern contemporary motorcycle jackets. Helstons went down a much more technical route. Now, we have been the exclusive importer of Helstons for the last 4 or 5 years, although we've recently done a deal with an importer, with a distributor, that will see these jackets appearing in shops all over the country. Ever since we worked in them, we've worked pretty closely with Helstons. We've done a number of special collaborations with them, and every year we would ride or drive down to see them in Paris. They've got an office in Paris. Would go down and look at their new collections. They bring out 2 collections a year. We would exchange ideas. We would talk about the kind of things that were special to the UK market, the things that we'd like to see over here. Now, in 2018, I rode down in my favourite Spidi flying jacket. This is a jacket that was called the Top Gun jacket. Again, it was an exclusive collaboration that we did with Spidi, and you can see it here, complete with authentic flies and mosquitoes. And as part of the discussions, because I turned up in this jacket, we talked about producing a slightly more rugged, a tougher version of this, because whilst this is a beautiful jacket to wear, and I love the styling of it, it's made of sheepskin. It's not really the kind of jacket you want to be wearing if you end up coming off at speed. The new Bill jacket is the jacket that came directly out of those conversations, and we think they've done a fantastic job. This is indeed exactly what we discussed. It's a stronger, more protective version of this jacket, and it's made from a 1 to 1.1 millimeter cowhide, so it's going to be a much stronger jacket. The styling is very much still in the mould of a World War II A2 flyers jacket, which of course is what this is. For those of you who don't know their military outfits and uniforms, that's the jacket that Steve McQueen wore in many scenes of The Great Escape. Now, in some respects, this jacket, the Helstons jacket, is not quite as faithful as the Spidi jacket to that jacket, but its origins are still very much recognisable. As I've said, the leather is a 1 to 1.1 millimeter cowhide. It's a vegetable tanned cowhide. Now, there are 2 ways of tanning leather. The most prestigious, better quality way gives a softer feel to the leather, gives the leather a greater life. It's more expensive to do, but it's called vegetable tanning. You can also chrome tan leather, but this jacket has been tanned the vegetable route, as it were. What Helstons then do, they use a secret potion. They won't talk to anyone about it, but a secret melange, as it were, of oils and waxes to soften their jackets, to give them different patinas and to give them different qualities. Now, this jacket has been oiled, so it is super soft. Can't always tell that on the video, but this is a beautiful jacket. This is lovely because it's sheepskin. Sheepskin's always soft, but this, I've got to say, is not far off. It's also got a waxing on the top of the jacket, which gives it a slightly shiny effect. That's going to wear off over time to create patches of shiny and matte areas. The waxing is going to give it a little bit more waterproofing, because what happens when you've got leather that is waxed, the water's going to land on it, it's going to run off. That alone doesn't make a jacket waterproof, but it just means that the water initially is going to pool and run off the jacket. Now, in addition, in terms of waterproofing, and this is going to get a little bit confusing, this jacket also has a waterproof membrane. Now, I've discussed this before in the context of Helstons jackets, but a waterproof membrane in a leather jacket is a bit of a waste of time on one level, because by the time the membrane comes to do its job, by the time the water reaches the membrane to stop the water reaching the body, the outer jacket has become soaking wet and heavy. That can be making you feel cold. So the membrane, whilst it's going to actually stop you getting wet, it's by then not going to be a nice jacket to wear. And in fact, what Helstons do, the reason that they put a membrane into their leather jackets is not for waterproofing, it's for windproofing, because a waterproof membrane is also a windproof membrane. Now, the reason they do that is because in France, with a better climate than ours, they can be riding earlier in the spring, so they're often up on their bikes in March. They can be riding into October, and they can still wear a leather jacket then. But that's why Helstons like to put a membrane in their jackets because it just extends the life of a leather jacket. What you then find in France is many bikers never even transfer to textiles. So whereas in England, come October, we put on our textiles and we ride those through until maybe the beginning of April, a lot of French bikers will carry on riding into October, maybe even November in their leather jackets. They then won't ride over the winter, but as soon as March arrives, they can put their leather jacket on again. So that's why Helstons put a membrane in their jackets for windproofing, not waterproofing. The jacket also comes with a thermal gilet. Two pockets in that gilet. It's got a phone pocket and a wallet pocket. Now, we're not massive fans of their gilets, I've got to admit, because they're quite thick, and one of the issues with their jackets is that when you've got the gilet in, it's one size. When you take it out, it's another size. We actually prefer leather jackets to either have a super thin thermal liner or none at all. So when you buy a Helstons jacket, you need to make sure that you size it both with and without. And our preferred method here is we take the thermal liner out, we fit it, we want it to be fitted tight, because what we know then is in 3 months' time, 6 months' time, it'll feel the same if you then put the gilet in. So that's just something you need to be aware of if you are going to be buying a Helstons jacket. Like most Helstons jackets, this comes with full armour. That's not the case, I've got to say, with most makers of leather jackets, but it's got CE armour in the shoulders, in the elbows, and importantly in the back as standard as well. It's level 1 armour, it's very soft armour, it's not D3O, but there's no case in my view for changing it to D3O because in its own way it's every bit as good, it's every bit as soft. Now, one other feature this jacket has is a perforated placket. We did this first with a jacket called the Ace Legend, which they made for us. And what it was, we wanted a leather jacket that was going to be nicer to wear in the summer. So you have a secondary placket that runs down here. It's a zip-in placket, but on a hot day, you can run with that external zip open and you can get air through. So the jacket is still safe, it's still connected to you, but you can get a little bit more air into the jacket. Zips are by YKK. Always important to us that a manufacturer uses YKK zips. A lot of manufacturers who don't just want to get the jacket over the warranty line, as it were. They're not really bothered about the long-term dependability of a jacket, but when somebody uses YKK, they're taking their longer-term responsibilities very seriously. In terms of adjusters, we've got a 3-popper buckle adjuster here on the waist that works out really well. We've got 3 poppers on the sleeve. There's no zip, but there are 3 poppers. The third popper, as ever with Helstons, is a waste of time. I don't know why they put it on there. You couldn't possibly get a hand or a wrist through that fitting if you use the third popper. We have an adjuster on the neck. It's a 2-position adjuster, but it only works when you've got the collar up. And we think that's a shame, what we would have liked, and indeed this is a feature that we have on the Spidi jacket. We would have liked a popper underneath here as well, because if you're going to be riding at speed and you've got the collar down, that's going to flap about and make a noise. In terms of the jacket, we've got 2 pockets on the outside with a side entry and top entry. We've got 1 on the inside, which is a Napoleon pocket. One of the points of detail that makes it less original, because I mentioned that we thought the Spidi jacket was more authentic in terms of the A2 look. One of the things that this jacket doesn't have, it doesn't have the French rib on the hem, which is what the original has, and it doesn't have French rib on the cuff. Now, that's a detail that I particularly like because I like the original, and I like that originality and that authenticity. But I've got to say that as a bike jacket, some people don't like that because in the rain, that's going to get wet. It can make the waistline of a jean wet, so that can cause water to run in the jeans. So I understand some people don't like it. I do. I also think that elastication makes the jacket fit particularly nicely. But that's just one of those things one's going to have to live with. The other thing that, if I'm being critical, one of the things that I don't like about this jacket is the branding here. It's a sewn-on label. I think it's a wee bit clumsy. What I would have liked to have seen is an embossed label here. The original A2 jacket had actually a leather band here that had the pilot's name on. I think it would have been rather neat to have had a Helstons logo here, maybe as a secondary leather badge. But that's not a major deal in my view. It doesn't affect the jacket. It's just something that I would have preferred to have been handled differently. In terms of the price, the jacket is £350, and I think that's a pretty good value. You're getting a lot of jacket for the money. You're getting fantastic cowhide, vegetable tanned cowhide, full armour, membrane, thermal. There's really nothing else you could really want. I think it's a stunning jacket. If you'd like to see more Helstons jackets, then visit the website motolegends.com. If you'd like to learn more about the Bill jacket in particular, then if you click on one of the links on the screen, sometimes they're up there, sometimes they're down there, that will take you to the relevant page on our website. There you can check out the spec in a little bit more detail, you can check out availability, and if you want one of these jackets, you can obviously order one there and then. Now, when you buy from us, we try to make the process simple, straightforward, and risk-free as we possibly can. There's no delivery charge on any protective wear you buy from us. Returns are totally free, and what's more, we give you a full 12 months in which to decide whether you do want to return something to us. We have the best price guarantee in the business. Now, John Lewis is rightly famed for its never knowingly undersold price promise. We go one stage better. If you can find anyone selling anything we sell at a price that is lower than ours, we will beat that price by a full 10%. Now, if the retailer is in the EU and not in the UK, we will match their landed price. There are a few terms and conditions, nothing particularly onerous, but if you are going to price beat us, I suggest you visit the website and check out what those terms and conditions are. If in the future you'd like to receive bulletins from us, then if you go to the top of the page on the website, any page, there's a piece of script that says newsletter sign up. Click on there, within seconds you'll be in business. In future you'll receive bulletins from us. If you would prefer to get your information videographically, that is to say in this form, then we'd be delighted if you want to become a subscriber to our YouTube channel, and you can do that by clicking on the button below. Now, this is 2020. Before the end of the year, we're going to be giving away a motorbike to a YouTube subscriber, to one of our YouTube subscribers. We're calling the bike a Steve McQueen tribute bike. It's based on a Mutz 125cc. It's a lovely little cutie. You can read all about it on the front page of our website or on the home page of our YouTube channel. Finally, I'd like to make a play for our fabulous shop here at Motolegends. We're based about a mile from the centre of Guildford, a mile from the railway station. We have a small footprint, it's a small shop, but it's attached to our warehouse where we have more than £2 million worth of merchandise ranged over 3 floors. That technically makes this the second largest motorcycle apparel shop in the UK. But we think that we are far more than just the amount of merchandise here in the building. We're about service, we're about personal fitting. If you want to check us out, visit Trustpilot. We have the highest 5-star ranking in the business. When you come and see us, we'll serve you only the finest illy Italian coffee or proper Yorkshire tea served in a proper teapot. And who knows, if you're lucky, you might even get one of Sean's mum's delicious motorcycle-shaped shortbread biscuits. Anyway, this has been Chris. I hope to talk to you again soon.